What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Locked In Sports Podcast. I'm William Locke, and joining me from Miami, Florida, as he does for every Major League Baseball podcast, is Luis Barranco. Luis, the second half is underway. Another weekend of baseball is in the books. How you doing?
We are currently, in my opinion, of the dog days of the season. We are in the wait-and-see mode, as some would like to say. In the next week and a half, we will see who becomes buyers and who becomes sellers. It is painfully hot, 95 to 108 degrees outside. It is so hot. It is hot like an oven out there. And it reminds me of back home when we grew up, where you would try to do all your things in the morning. Your practices for baseball were probably in the morning, very early morning, or anything you had to do would be in the early morning because it is painfully hot. It is officially the weather where you said it is too hot to run outside, as you always would tell me when you would come down here. It is way too hot to run.
I'm glad I'm not experiencing that. It was actually, it hit the 60s this weekend in Chicago. So we do have a heat wave coming through this week. I know we love to talk about weather. Rained a lot this weekend. Rained every single day this weekend, I believe, in Chicago. Maybe not Sunday, but yeah, it was a good weekend. Columbus Explorers, we had practice on Saturday. So we got the playoffs kicking off on Tuesday this week. So we'll hopefully continue on into the next round. Obviously, we'll report back on our next episode on Friday on how that goes. Finish up Squid Game on Sunday, the final season 3. So obviously watched a lot of baseball as well, but was able to finish up that series. So yeah, it was a good weekend. Going to be a fun pod. Obviously, you mentioned it, like the next week and a half is going to be huge in terms of the trade deadline, who's buying, who's selling. I think this weekend told us a lot too. I think there's the question out there of, did this weekend hurt the trade deadline? Could the trade deadline be in danger? There's one very specific team that had a great weekend that, as you mentioned in the last episode, as one of your teams that controls the trade deadline, they had a good weekend. So I'll leave that tease for the rest of the podcast. Of course, going to be recapping the Yankees today, their series in Atlanta, going to be recapping the rest of Major League Baseball, some key series that may have had implications on the trade deadline and everything else from around the league today.
That'll be fun. I mean, good to hear about the Columbus Explorers. Are you teaching them how to communicate signs from second base over to home, or you guys aren't there yet?
We haven't picked up on any signs. I don't think we're there yet.
You're not arm waving.
No arm circles. No whatever Jazz was doing on Saturday in that game. No, none of that yet. Maybe next season. How
are you feeling? So I was going to ask you how your weekend was. You didn't get to the Cubs Red Sox series. I mean, I know Bayo was pitching on Saturday, and I know Kayla loves Brian Bayo because of the series and all that.
Yeah, I wasn't able to make it out this weekend. The tickets were pretty expensive in Chicago and for Wrigley. Obviously, Friday afternoon game was off work, but didn't make it. And then, Saturday, Sunday didn't make it either. But great weather for all 3 games.
Yeah.
Looked like it was packed. I think they said they had 120,000 plus over the weekend. So like 3 straight sellouts, basically. So, yeah, Wrigley was popping as per usual. They got the Royals, I believe, midweek this week. So a little bit cheaper tickets, I'm sure. Maybe I'll get out. Probably not. But, yeah, no, I didn't make it out.
Yeah, well, that's unfortunate. I mean,
what are you going to do?
What are you going to do? It's life. But let's start the podcast. We're here to talk about baseball. Let's get this train moving.
But before we do, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. 98 subscribers, trying to get to 100 by the end of the season. We're almost there. Don't miss an episode. Hit the alarm bell. And hit that subscribe button on YouTube. If you're listening and you're not subscribed, it's just one click of the button. Helps us out a lot in terms of our visibility and helping the podcast grow. Follow us on TikTok. We've had that account for about 3 weeks now. Gonna be starting to post some exclusive content to TikTok only. I got one of those mini microphones, so it gives me some more versatility to post on there. And then follow us on Instagram for various different graphics that we post up. So some unique content that is exclusive to Instagram. And then on YouTube, of course, we have the video formats of these episodes, and we have our Yankees in 60. So there's a reason to follow us on every single platform. And we're close to 100. So hit that subscribe button.
Hit that button. So let's set this podcast off today. I mean, it was a beautiful weekend in Chicago. It was a beautiful weekend here in Miami. It was painfully hot. I was at a block party on Saturday, and it was like 95, 98 degrees. It was painfully hot outside. Not block party weather. Definitely sweat weather out there. But we're gonna start the podcast out differently today. I hope you guys are all watching because I want you guys to look at William's reaction. But we start the podcast always with the Yankee report. We're gonna bring up a new segment. We're gonna call it the Marlin report, the fish report. We're gonna start the podcast out. No, I'm joking with you guys. We're not gonna start the Marlin report right now. I mean, that would give William a reason to edit 10 minutes out of the podcast. We're not going to do that. We'll talk about the Marlins later. But I've been really mad with William with his Marlins coverage. He's been really neglecting. And I have a couple stories with the Marlins this weekend. Like, William's been neglecting the coverage with the Marlins, and so has Major League Media as well.
You want me to post a clip? I will. I'll get working on the Marlins clip. I know you had some inflammatory comments last week about them beating the Mets in the playoffs, so I can post that. I can clip it up and post it. I'm just saying you're probably going to get flamed.
We'll wait on that. But I had some interesting conversations this weekend with Miami natives about the Marlins, and let's just put it this way: I might be the number one Marlin defender, and I'm not even from here. Like, I might be. I might be like the commander conductor for the Marlin train here. But we'll talk about the Marlins later when we get into. Let me ask you a question. Did you see the clip that got posted up this week on Twitter? I can't remember if it was Foul Territory, but they were interviewing John Smoltz about the All-Star game, in which he said the next way that you take the All-Star game to the next level is if they do USA World and do something like how the NHL did Four Nations and do that during the All-Star game. If you got a whole Team USA baseball team versus whole world. What do you think about that for the All-Star game?
I think Team USA versus world could be a little bit unfair. Team USA is at risk of just getting absolutely pumped, considering you have the DR, Venezuela, and Japan against the United States. Of course, the US has some great pitching. And it's baseball. Like, it could go either way. Even if you have a much better team, it doesn't mean you're going to win the game. And there is a ton of talent on Team USA. I think it could be interesting. I do think there's a very good chance, especially like right now with Ohtani in Japan and like all the talent they have right now from that country. The DR is always stacked. Venezuela is always stacked. And then you got, even the Netherlands or Mexico, Puerto Rico with Lindor. Like, I don't know. It would be fun. I also think AL versus NL is classic. It's timeless. I don't think there's anything wrong with the All-Star game right now, the way they do it, to be honest.
He just think it would take it to the next level. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you really think a world team would beat Team USA?
Again,
let's go through the positions. Let's do it. Okay. At first base, at World, you probably had Vlad Guerrero. Team USA probably has a combination of Matt Olson or Pete Alonso at first base. Who are you taking?
Or Bryce Harper.
Yeah, but versus Vlad Guerrero.
I guess USA. I don't know. Vlad's having a down year, or not a down year, but he's not having an MVP caliber season.
Well, that we'll talk about that later because I actually did some research on that.
Okay. Either way, that's not like a huge gap in talent at first base.
Okay. But still, Team USA or DR? Or World, sorry, excuse me.
Close, I guess, USA.
Okay. Second base for Team USA. I can't think of second base, but I know it'll be Ketel Marte for Team World.
Yeah, second base would be World for sure.
Who's Team USA second base? That would be... I'm trying to think. Okay, I'm blanking right now.
Second base is a really weak position. You could throw Terang out there for defense.
Or you can slide a shortstop over. But if we're doing that, you can do a lot. But right now, I don't have anybody at second base for Team USA. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head.
Yeah, we're probably forgetting somebody, but in reality, it would probably be a shortstop playing second.
Okay. Bobby Witt or Lindor?
Bobby Witt. I know that's gonna maybe make some Mets fans a little bit unhappy, but probably Bobby Witt.
Okay.
It's close. It's close. Push close. Lindor's crazier.
Okay. Third base. Are you taking J-Ram? Or you'd probably throw Nolan Arenado, probably. I don't know. Who would you throw out there? Oh, or Austin Riley?
Yeah, it's J-Ram.
Okay. outfield, you would have Judge, Tucker, and PCA maybe versus Soto.
Of course, Acuna.
So yeah, Soto, Acuna, and Julio maybe.
I think it's close. It's close. It's a push maybe.
And I'm taking Team USA pitching.
Yeah, I think it's fair. The best pitchers right now are mostly American. Zach Wheeler, Tarek Skubal, Garrett Cole when healthy, Fried. I guess you got Chris Sanchez. I mean, Skeens, of course, for Team USA. Yeah, Team USA probably dominates in terms of pitching. I think in terms of relievers, you got Chapman, you got Munoz, you got Robert Suarez. Like a lot of the best relievers and closers in the game are Team World. But you got I think of all-stars, Jason Adam, and that's American. I guess Bednar, Devin Williams, Luke Weaver.
Here it is. Bregman or J-Ram?
J-Ram. I mean, Bregman's been great, but it's not a huge golfing talent. So maybe the game would be better than I think it would be. Maybe
Cal Raleigh at catcher too. Yeah. I think it'd be a pretty good game, but
it could be fun to do. I mean, we already have the thing with baseballs. We already have the WBC. Next year's the WBC year, which will be fun. I think we're going to do some fun content with that next season. Do we really need that twice in 1 year? I don't know, but it could be an interesting tweak. I do just think that the AL versus NL is so classic. Like it's fun to see those two leagues go up against each other. I don't know if you really need to touch the All-Star game, to be honest. I think the NBA is something that needs that more than MLB. NHL really injected some life into their All-Star week. I guess they canceled the All-Star week for the Four Nations, which was a huge success. So maybe MLB wants to do it. They see what happened with the NHL, but I don't know. I think what they have right now going on in the All-Star game is just fine.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I mean, we're going to see the Olympics here coming up in 2028 in LA, and we'll see if they allow major leaguers to play, which would be something for another discussion to have on a future podcast, because we go into the amateurism, and that's a whole can of worms I don't want to open. I don't think I'm ready to talk about that tonight.
We still got a few years for that, but I do think it would be fun to see the major league dudes in that event. Of course, it's in the United States, in Los Angeles this year. Would be fun.
Los Angeles and OKC as well.
It's in OKC. For what events are in OKC?
Softball's in OKC, which is crazy. But
that makes sense because they have the Women's College World Series there, I guess. So
for you guys that are interested about these teams, these world teams and whatever, I would follow Sean Spalding on Twitter. He covers WBC stuff, and he's been posting his projected rosters for next year's World Baseball Classic, and he posts a lot of WBC content. I mean, we're just a couple months away, essentially. We're only we're only 6 months away because WBC starts in March.
Well, it's more than 6. 6 months would be, it's 8 months. 7.5, yeah.
Well, we'll be boots on the ground. Yeah, we'll be somewhere.
We'll be there. Either Miami or Puerto Rico. We'll definitely be there.
Or Tokyo. Who knows?
Tokyo. We could do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that was a little chat to open up. Let's talk about the Yankees weekend recap. I mean, on this podcast, we always talk about the New York Yankees, as William is a resident Yankee fan, been a fan since birth. And we always talk about the weekend of review and the week that was for the New York Yankees. This weekend, the New York Yankees faced the Atlanta Braves, a series that before the season you would expect to have more implications because we expected Atlanta to be this juggernaut of a team. But Atlanta has fallen flat on expectations. And I think this weekend is a perfect summary of how Atlanta's season's been so far. Yankees won 2 out of 3 Friday. Yankees pretty much punted the game in a sense that William texted me at lunchtime and was like, I will not repeat what he told me because it's not podcast safe, but he did say a couple words that I cannot say on this podcast. And he was like, what is going on? Why are we starting Ian Hamilton? The Yankees went bullpen game, started Ian Hamilton, who gave up 3 in the first. Then Rico Garcia, who was literally put on the active roster that day or the day before and was DFA'd after. And just an awful awful game for the Yankees. Braves won 7-3. Acuna went yard, and then you had the insane throw from right field where Yorbit Vivas, I think, was just a boneheaded play. He wasn't running strong enough. He didn't slide. He just kind of like nonchalant. And, feel like we're going to get the rant from William talking about fundamentals and defense and the same team every year. That was Friday night. Saturday, Yankees won 12-9. Pretty much the Braves were up 7-2, but they blew it. I mean, Trent Grisham saved the game in the ninth, and I was watching the game from the block party, and at one point it was 7-0, and I was like, oh boy, Sunday night's going to be a tough podcast record.
7-2, 7-2, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough record, and Grisham got the grand slam. You have the Volpe to the warning track. You have the Jazz beef with the Eddie Perez with the relaying signs to Volpe. I mean, it was an interesting, like a great game, I feel like. And then you had yesterday's Yankee 42 win where the Yankees had Marcus Stroman go 6, give up 1 earned, 4 strikeouts, and 5 hits. And Aaron Judge went 2 for 4 with a homer and RBI. Devin Williams closed out the game. He gave up a solo shot to Acuna, but he got the save. So, William, let's talk about it. I think the game we need to talk about is Friday and Saturday. Without further ado, the floor is yours.
Well, yeah, the Friday game was a disaster. I guess it was kind of a punt game. Schlittler was supposed to go, but he had some bicep soreness or discomfort, I think they labeled it as. So he didn't go. Hamilton gave up the 3 earned, and then, Rico Garcia kind of came out of nowhere, pitched for the Yankees, and then subsequently got DFA'd. That game was rough, and people were really excited for the second half, and then that game happened. It's like, oh, here we go, like bad vibes again immediately. Luckily, they turned it around. It would have been really bad vibes had they lost that Saturday game. You mentioned it was 7-2 at one point. And then the Yankees, they had a big 6th inning, 4 in that inning, 1 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th, and then that huge grand slam by Grisham in the 9th to give them a 12-8 lead. Weaver was really great in relief, had some key outs. He went an inning and 2/3, no hits, 0 earned runs, a walk and 2 strikeouts, came in with the bases loaded in the 7th and got a strikeout and a pop-up, down 1 at that point. So had the Braves scored there, it would have opened up the game even more, and a very good chance the Yankees end up losing that game. But he got out of it, and then you had the Volpe 2 home run game, first career multi-homer game for Volpe. The Yankees need him to turn things around to have a good second half, because I don't think they're doing anything at shortstop this year at the trade deadline. They're just kind of have to rely on Volpe and hope he turns things around. So huge 2-homer night for him on Saturday. Sunday, story of the game was Marcus Stroman. The Yankees bullpen was taxed on Saturday, and they needed some innings from Stroman. He went 6, only allowing 1 earned run. That solo shot from Matt Olson, he was great. I mean, 4 strikeouts. Stroman did exactly what the Yankees needed him to do. Aaron Judge, home run number 36, an absolute tank opposite field. He ties Alex Rodriguez in terms of all-time Yankee home runs. So again, Yankees scored early. Giancarlo had another big game. Giancarlo had a good weekend in general. He might be the player of the weekend alongside Volpe. 3 for 5 yesterday. Every ball he was hitting was like 100 miles an hour plus. He was absolutely hitting the crap out of the ball. 3 walks on Saturday with a hit as well. And then he went 1 for 1 on Friday with the pinch hit. So Stanton was great. Would love to see him have a great second half. This was a great series for the Yankees considering where they started. Still a net negative. You still lose a game on Toronto because they swept the Giants, but where things were when it was 7-2 on Saturday, things were looking very dark. I think they turned it around nicely to win the series. And now you go to Toronto for a 3-game set, absolutely massive. And then you got Philly again this weekend, or not again, but they got Philly this weekend. This week is massive. I mean, you needed to win this series. I thought the pitching decisions were interesting. You did have Fried with the blister and Schlittler with the bicep, so maybe the injuries played a role in what they decided to do with the pitching matchups this series. But you stole a game with Stroman starting. You stole a game where Will Warren wasn't good on Saturday. You lose the bullpen game, okay, whatever. But they finished well on the weekend, and now you got your best pitchers for the huge series in Toronto. Should be a very fascinating week, but this was a good weekend all in all, to be honest.
Here's my issue with the Yankees. I like that they win games and they come back and they play hard, and I think that's great, and they have a bunch of talent, but they're not a great team. They don't do what great teams do. Good teams win series. Great teams sweep. And this is a series looking at on paper as how the Brave season has been that you have to sweep. If you want to be a division champion and you want to be a World Series champion, you sweep these teams under 500. You sweep these bad teams. That's kind of been my issue with the Yankees this season. They play this inferior competition and they don't close the door. Happened a couple weeks ago versus the Red Sox. They played Tampa early on in the season. You couldn't close the door on that one. They just give some of these really, really like boneheaded games away. And it wasn't till the Angels series like that, when they went on that West Coast trip, when they went on that run, that's when they looked like a great team. But until they start beating up on this bad comp, I still have issues with them winning a division right now. Because the way Toronto is playing, we'll learn a lot more. And I know you are not looking forward to the next 3 days.
No.
The way we like, and they're at home as well, which Toronto at home, I was reading like their viewership's up. The whole nation of Canada is on their back. That stadium gets crazy. Like it's not an easy place to play. Like
no, I feel like every big series that the Blue Jays play, it's at home. It's kind of like Liverpool, where I feel like every big game Liverpool plays is in Anfield. The Blue Jays, that stadium is a fortress. They're coming off a sweep against the Giants. It's going to be it's going to be a tough series. Kicks off tonight. Yeah.
You know what they remind me of in college football terms a little bit?
Who?
They reminded me of Iowa, if Iowa was good.
Like a tough place to play, or trap game potential?
No, that stadium's really good. Like tough place to play. That stadium is a fortress. You know, it's a fortress.
Yeah. I mean, Iowa's just. Maybe the better comp would be A&M.
Yeah,
A&M's not great either, but that stadium is incredible, like just incredibly tough to play at. I feel like, it's massive.
Yeah, and that's my thing with the Yankees this year. I mean, Toronto. When you look at comparing Toronto, I mean, we'll talk about them later, but their stretch, they've literally swept teams, and it's not even close. They've swept teams like the Giants. They swept the Angels. Like they beat up on this bad comp. The Yankees haven't been doing that, and that's my clear issue with them. And until they get it together, I mean, we'll see. We'll learn more about this week, but I mean, the Yankees and Jays have 2 tough weeks coming up. The Yankees and Jays play each other. And then the Jays got Detroit. Yankees got Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is not an easy team to play against. So we could be back again next weekend here with the same 3.5-3-game margin that we stood out this week. It's currently at 3 games right now. So,
I mean, I truthfully would take that after looking at what the Yankees have this coming week with the Jays and the Phillies. I would take keeping it at 3. And then, you get into August and maybe the schedule gets a little bit easier. Like it's a 4-game set against Tampa Bay to finish out July, which will be tough. But then you get Miami, which that's tough. Could be tough.
Whoa.
And then you go to that one. At Texas, Houston, which, those could be tough. Then Minnesota, St. Louis, Tampa, Boston, Washington, Chicago, White Sox. Like this next week is tough. I think it was in terms of saw a graphic like second half strength of schedule. The Yankees were one of the easiest second half schedules. So we'll see. I think the Cubs had the easiest, which is fascinating. Remember how stacked their schedule was in April.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. This was a good weekend. I thought in terms of like the Braves, they're out of it. I mean, Raciel Iglesias, I don't know if any team would really want to trade for that guy. He really struggled on Saturday. I guess he was good on Friday. Nacho Alvarez played a really good third base for the Braves, filling in for Austin Riley. Seems like he could be a potential player for them. He had that nice catch against Jazz on the liner and then made a really nice play yesterday on a Judge grounder that went probably hit that thing 120 miles an hour, damn near. Absolutely crushed it. And he made a nice stop on the one hand or on the one hop. Yeah, and then I mean you got Acuna, which we didn't mention the throw he had on Friday. I guess you did. You did.
Yeah.
One of the best. My thing with Acuna is, could Acuna be like pound for pound in terms of the 5 tools that baseball players get rated on, has a very good argument for being the best 5-tool player in baseball. Now, I know Ohtani exists. You got to caveat every baseball discussion you have nowadays with, yes, I understand and I recognize how good Ohtani is. But that throw that Acuna made on Friday night, I don't think I've ever seen a throw quite like that. The first one that comes to mind, of course, is the Cespedes throw from left field when he was on the A's. But that was genuinely one of the best throws I've ever seen. He plays a strong outfield defense. Maybe that's the weak point in his game. He has the incredible arm strength, but he does have a -4 outs above average right now. But in terms of the other 4 categories, he can hit for contact. He's hitting 326 right now. I look back to the 2023 season, his MVP season, as potentially being one of the great baseball seasons of all time. When he won the MVP, he hit 337 that year. So he can certainly hit for average. He's got a solid glove. He can hit for power. He hit 41 home runs in 2023, already has 13 home runs this year. He's got the arm strength, elite arm strength, ranks in the 98th percentile in baseball, and he's got the speed. Stole 73 bases in that 2023 season. He's only got 4 stolen bases this year, so really hasn't turned that on just yet, maybe because he's, recovering from the ACL and everything. But in terms of like just pound for pound 5-tool players, I think Acuna has a really good argument that he might be the best or, top 2 player in the entire league. Like, the dude is just incredible to watch. Watching him this series against the Yankees, I was like, it's a very uncomfortable at bat because it's just a super smooth swing. Every time you see him, you feel like he's going to hit the ball into the seats. So Acuna, I think he's got an argument. I was really impressed with him this weekend. And it's unfortunate that the Braves aren't very good this year because this is a dude that loves the spotlight. I love seeing him play in big moments. The Braves would be ludicrous. Like, it would just be ridiculous if the Braves traded him. They won't. He's on an incredibly team-friendly deal. So hopefully the Braves can turn things around next season and Acuna can maybe push for another MVP. He could get MVP votes this season, to be honest. And despite playing like 3/4 of the season, he's been that good.
Less than that, probably like 60% of the season. But can we have a legitimate discussion on 5-tool? We need to start omitting Shohei Ohtani from this, because when you talk about 5 tools, you need to be running, defense, hitting the ball. And I feel Ohtani gets a lot of, brownie points because he pitches. But, like, I've never seen Ohtani play defense and do throws like that. I understand pitching is very hard, but, like, when you look at 5-tool guys, like PCA, this is like my whole argument with the MVP this year. This is why I believe PCA should win the MVP. PCA plays great defense. He's hitting the ball really well, and he runs the bases better than Ohtani right now. Plays better defense than Ohtani as well. Ohtani, again, you got the voter fatigue. If Ohtani's going to win MVP, he needs to do something crazy for me. I think PCA deserves it. And it falls into the whole debate of the 5-tool thing, where if you look at the tools and everything, I think PCA is a better 5-tool player than Ohtani. I'm not saying that he's a better player than Shohei Ohtani. I'm just saying 5 tools wise.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the way they grade in the 5 tools, yes. But the thing with Ohtani is, like, he's pitching. Now, the counter to that is, well, he's only pitching like 2 innings right now. He's not pitching that much, but the sheer fact that he's even doing it, I mean, he's minus 1,200 to win the MVP right now. Like, he's the runaway favorite. I think if he continues to pitch, he'll probably ramp up here in the second half. He's hitting 275 with a 990 OPS, 34 homers, 13 stolen bases. It's a tick down from where he was last year, certainly at the plate, but he's pitching again. So it's like, I don't know. I don't think PCA is going to win it. I think it's just going to be, as long as Ohtani's pitching, as long as he's hitting at a decent enough level, the fact that he's doing both of those things, I feel like he's going to continue to win the MVP every single season. And then you have the argument of, can he reach Bonds? Bonds finished with 7 MVPs? I can double check that real quick, but Bonds has the most MVPs of all time with 7. He won 4 straight from 2001 to 2004. Ohtani, I believe Ohtani has 3. I can double check that right now, 3 or 4. He's got 3. So after the season, Ohtani will be at 4. He'll need 3 more to reach Bonds. I think that's in play if he continues to pitch. I don't know. At what point do the voters just stop voting for Ohtani? Because right now it's hard to.
Yeah. Let's close out this Yankees series. I'm going to ask you a few notes. before we continue. What do you think about the whole Jazz incident with Braves coach Eddie Perez? And the
This
whole
kind
relaying
of,
signs.
yeah. I mean, Perez was pointing to his head, and Jazz thought it meant that he was trying to hit him. Seems like that wasn't the case. I don't know. We'll need a John Boy, I guess, breakdown if he hasn't posted it already. But I don't make much of it. I do think that you don't point to the head like that. People can interpret it the wrong way. But ultimately, I don't think it's a huge deal, to be honest.
Okay. What do we think about the Bob Nightingale dump that we got yesterday morning that the Yankees and Red Sox are interested in Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly and Eugenio Suarez? I'm telling you, my boy Eugenio. He's hitting homers, and everybody's like linking him to New York.
My thing, okay, yeah, with Gallen and Kelly, we'll get to the Diamondback series later, but Gallen and Kelly, sure, we need pitching, but we need maybe one more starter for the playoffs if the Yankees even make the playoffs. My thing right now with Suarez, he's hitting absolute tanks. Like, there's no denying it. He's arguably in the MVP race in the National League. He won't win, but he'll get votes, I think, right? And he's third. He's third in home runs right now in Major League Baseball behind Cal Raleigh and Aaron Judge. He had 2 home run games on Saturday and Sunday. So he had 4 home runs over the weekend. And with the way Suarez is playing, if the Diamondbacks do decide to sell, he's going to be far and away the best hitter that gets traded at the deadline. I mean, how often do we see an MVP candidate get moved at the deadline? And now, as you relate to the Yankees, there's no chance the Yankees trade for Eugenio Suarez without moving one of Schlittler, Jones, or Lombard, because everyone in the league wants this Eugenio Suarez guy right now, right? For third base. There's a lot of teams that need third baseman. Think of the Cubs right now. Alec Boehm just went down for Philly, hit the injured list. I don't think the Phillies would trade for a third baseman. They need to prioritize bullpen, but he is the biggest name right now in terms of trade deadline buzz. So the Diamondbacks are going to get a king's ransom in return for Suarez, and the Yankees are going to have to trade one of those 3 top prospects. And I ask you the question, do you think the Yankees should move off one of those guys for a rental? Because with Schlittler, you have a potential top 3-4 guy in your rotation. I mean, he's only had 1 major league start, but he looked like he has the talent to do so. And the most valuable thing you can have in Major League Baseball, in my opinion, is young, controllable arms, team control, talented arms, because those don't grow on trees. With Jones, I mean, I don't know if you can trade Jones at this point, because every single time I open Twitter, it's Spencer Jones has hit another home run in AAA. He's absolutely crushing AAA, and his minor league numbers are comparable to what Aaron Judge did in the minor leagues. I don't think you can move off Jones at this point for a rental specifically. And then Lombard, maybe Lombard's the one guy you do decide to move on from. But
whoa.
If you wanted to, but I don't think you can at this point. He's been struggling at AAA, but I think the Yankees probably think he's the dude to take over at shortstop long term. We'll see. But in terms of the 3, Lombard would be the most movable. I still don't know if you want to move him for a rental. So I just don't think there's any chance the Yankees can get Suarez without trading one of those 3. And I think that it might be a non-starter for Ryan Cashman.
And I think I disagree with that point, because you also have to keep in mind that Eugenio Suarez's contract is up. So a lot of his value is taken away. He's older. His value is up. He's a rental for him in the next 3 months. So that's why I feel that the return's not going to be as great. What I do think the Yankees could trade is Rock Riccio, the second baseman. I know second base isn't that of a value position, but he's a really good player playing in the minor leagues right now. You trade Rock Riccio and a couple of young controllable arms, which that's what the Diamondbacks want. You do that, and I think you can get yourself a Eugenio Suarez. But I mean, Eugenio Suarez is crazy, man. He'll be a Yankee on the first. I'll see him in Miami next weekend. Mm-hmm. I will be warming him with open arms.
If you're the Yankees, would you trade for Suarez if it meant you had to trade one of the top 3 guys in the farm?
That's tough, because the way I think about it is, are you wasting a year of Aaron Judge prime? Judge says he wants to play 40, but are we ever going to see another season where Judge was hovering around 400 to start the season out? That's the one thing. 2, the AL is wide open. I mean, we've seen Detroit's have a lot of, holes in their armor in the past 2 weeks. And the only other team is Houston, and Houston hasn't been great either. you have a great path to get to the World Series. One, LA has issues that we're going to talk about later that, if you go all in this year, like, yeah, cool. You go all in, you make it, and you get a chance to win. Hope you get hot, hope you win. Yeah, I tend to think, you want to go all in, but the problem is like, are you going to sacrifice the future? And
Right.
the other thing is sacrificing the future is I also think about the impending lockout, which if you think about the lockout and we have a work stoppage for 26, like we're losing a year of Judge Cole and the gang.
You really think they would lock out the whole season of 2026?
You don't know. 2026 could just be another year like 2020, where it's just a 80 game stretch of whoever gets hot and makes it to the end. And if you have 2-3 bad weeks of baseball, you start like a week like the Atlanta Braves, like your season's over. That's my whole thing with 26. And you look at the future of this team. Okay, you're going to have Dominguez, who I think has proven a lot of us wrong. Dominguez, Jones, Lombard, Reggio. That's kind of your core of the future. That's kind of like your next baby Bombers era, with Judge filling in.
Schlittler.
Your outfield is filled. You assume you re-up Jazz. Austin Wells maybe here, there, who knows? You then have to just find impact bats at DH, first base, or third base. And the thing is, like, there's not really impact bats there coming on the market at third base anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, the Yankees are known to spend in free agency, so there'll be external acquisitions between now and whenever Judge is kind of out of the picture. So we'll see. I mean, what the future looks like. I don't know. I hesitate to move one of the top three guys because I do think all three of them have a lot of talent and can contribute at the major league level. I hesitate to trade for Renzel and Suarez, but Suarez is having an MVP caliber season. There is the question of if you take him out of Arizona, new situation, new team, new ballpark to hit in, like, is he just a little bit off? He's used to hitting in Arizona in the National League this season. Change the scenery, maybe will throw him off his game just a little bit. And I mean, look what he did in Seattle when he was there for 2 seasons. He really struggled. Obviously, hardest park to hit. Hardest park to hit in Major League Baseball. But I don't know. We'll see. It seems like he's doing really well in Arizona. So maybe he just stays. I don't know. It's the biggest storyline, I think, in the deadline right now is what happens with this Diamondbacks team.
Well, he performed in New York is also the bigger question as well. The Yankee factor. And I mean, that's a lot of – we'll talk about that a little bit later. But that's a perfect segue. William, grade the weekend for the Yankees before we move into –
I'll give it a B. I still think there was some ugly fundamental stuff with the base running this weekend and some of the fielding, missing cutoffs, bad throws, stuff like that. But they won the series. That's the most important thing. So I'll give it a solid B.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's a weekend in review for the Yankees. Let's talk about what happened in the major leagues. I know we're going to highlight a couple series. We're going to star a couple series that we're interested in because of the trade deadline. I mean, a lot of motion going on in the trade deadline teams. Before we get into the series, not a great week for the trade deadline weekend because everybody who was on the edge of selling actually won this weekend. They won their series. The only team that really had a setback was the Minnesota Twins, Joe's Minnesota Twins, and we'll start there. The Minnesota Twins versus the Colorado Rockies. The Colorado Rockies won 2 out of 3 this weekend. Rockies won 6-4 on Friday and 10-6 on Saturday. Twins came back and took the getaway day game 7-1 as they traveled to LA today. Tough weekend for Minnesota. Duran pitched a clean 9th yesterday, but just a really bad weekend for Minnesota. The only bright spot was Joe Ryan, who pitched 7 full, 5 hits, 1 earned, 11 strikeouts, and his ERA is now down to 2.63. In his last 7 starts, he's pitched 43 and a third inning, an ERA of 2.08, and a WHIP of 0.85 and 50 strikeouts and 8 walks. He's been truly frontline pitcher, but tough weekend for Minnesota.
Yeah, I think this series should solidify Minnesota as sellers, to be honest. They're 48-51, 3 games under 500. They're, in terms of the wild card, they are 5 back of the third wild card spot. You mentioned the Joe Ryan start. He was great. Royce Lewis went 2 for 4 yesterday with 2 runs, 2 ribbies, 2 homers. So he was a nice bright spot hitting in the 8-hole for them over the weekend on Sunday. But yeah, I they got the Dodgers this weekend, who the Dodgers are struggling. We'll get to them, but 3 against the Dodgers in Los Angeles this week, Monday through Wednesday, and then it's Washington and Boston before the trade deadline for them. And I just think they got to sell. Johan Duran, he's got to get moved. Griffin Jacks, I think he should get moved. They're a team that I look at, and if Arizona decides to hold on to their pieces, which I don't know, we'll see. They got a big week ahead. If Minnesota holds on to their pieces, if Arizona holds on to their pieces, Minnesota is going to be one of those teams that becomes probably a prime seller at the deadline. One of the teams that maybe will get even more value for their players because with Arizona out of the fold, Duran, Jacks, maybe probably a Joe Ryan become more valuable because of the lack of availability in Arizona. So I don't think this Twins team is going anywhere. I think the front office probably recognizes that. You just lost a series against the Rockies, so probably time for them to sell.
My question was Joe in attendance this weekend.
I don't think so. I don't think he was. I didn't see anything posted from him. So.
Do we have boots on the ground in Minnesota? Is the question in Colorado?
Joe's kind of been bouncing around right now. I think I think his lease expired in Colorado, so he's been traveling a lot.
Yeah. So let's talk about the LA Dodgers. I mean, the Milwaukee Brewers have the LA Dodgers number. Milwaukee has swept the Dodgers this weekend in a clean 3-game sweep. This makes Milwaukee going now for 10 straight wins on Sunday. They won 10 straight, and they're 9-0 with Andrew Vaughn on the team. They're now tied with the Cubs for the division. Cubs fans were not happy with this series at all. Milwaukee won 2-0 on Friday. Quinn Steer, 6 innings, 3 hits, 0 earned, 10 strikeouts on 77 pitches. And Caleb Durbin had an RBI double and a homer. He's been incredible in his last 14, hitting 333, 429 on base percentage, and he's slugging 583 with a 186 WRC plus. On Saturday, the Brewers won 8-7, and on Sunday, the Brewers won 6-5. Mookie Betts flew out to end the game in center field. I don't know if you were watching the game. He flew out.
That was not a fly out. That was a hard line drive to center field.
Hard line drive, but hey, the Brewers got the win 6-5. Dodgers got some issues, my guy. Nobody wants to talk about the Dodgers. Everybody wants to talk about the issues in New York, but I think the Dodgers are very vulnerable this year. Let's talk about it. They lead the league right now in most bullpen innings pitched right now. Number 1. You add to that on July 3rd, the Dodgers had a 9-game lead on the division. Now their lead is now down to 4.5. If the Padres could beat good competition, this would be a dead tight division race. Again, Mookie Betts now hitting leadoff, this new lineup. In 2024, he was hitting 289, on base 372, and 491 slugging. Now he's only hitting 241 with an on base of 311 and a slugging of 377. And he's only hitting in the month of July 188. That is another issue. Freddie Freeman left the game with a wrist injury. He's hitting 196 in the month of July. He hit 200 in June. William, I think there's some clear issues with this Dodgers teams that we don't talk about. We talk about the whole Shohei, and it's just bugging me because, of course, New York's going to get all the major market fare because they are New York, the bigger media market than LA. LA is just as big, but people care about New York. But the Dodgers have a lot of issues with all these pitchers on the IL. You don't even know who's going to be their playoff starter. Yamamoto's going to be there in Glasgow. Mookie's not playing well. Freddie's not playing well. They're literally another version of the Yankees, but in the West Coast form. The only difference between the Yankees and the Dodgers is that the other guys, like the Anthony Volpes, the Austin Wells on the Dodgers, are Will Smith, Teoscar Hernandez, which, alleviates the blow, but I'm telling you right now, the Dodgers have a lot of issues. Like going from 9 games to 4.5, they've lost a lot of games. The Brewers have their number, and if I'm Milwaukee, I'm actively trying to play LA in the first round. That's 6 season sweep.
Yeah, I mean, there is real concern, in my opinion, with the injuries they have in the rotation. That's going to be a concern come the playoffs. Glass now, though, he's looked solid in his 2 starts since returning. Otani's ramping up. He'll be there. Yamamoto's still one of the best players in the league, pitchers in the league. So the bullpen is a real concern. I do think, they're kind of running out some guys in the bullpen right now that I'm like, who exactly is that? Will Klein pitched this weekend. So I do think, they don't have a true closer like Tanner Scott struggled this season. So I do think there's some concern with the bullpen. If Betts and Freeman aren't hitting really well, if they're not playing to the caliber that we know they can, I do think there is a little bit more concern with the lineup. They, like you mentioned, they still do have those other guys like a Will Smith, like a Teoscar Hernandez, like a Tommy Edman that can fill in a lot of different places that are really, really valuable. But if the headline guys, Betts and Freeman and Otani's had a quote unquote down year for Otani compared to last season. He's still playing really well, 30-something home runs. But he does have the added distraction of pitching. So there's still 16 games over 500. They're still going to win the division. They're still going to be in the playoffs. I'm not concerned about them in terms of getting to the playoffs. I do think there are some concerns in terms of what they could do in the playoffs if things are the way they are right now in October. But they still have a lot of time to figure things out between now and then. So ultimately, I'm not concerned. But I do think the fact that they lost 6 straight games to the Brewers this year, got swept in the season series, that is cause for concern. They got Minnesota this week. That's a get-right series. And then they go up to Boston. They're shipping up to Boston for a weekend series next weekend. That could be really fun to watch. I got my eyes on the Dodgers. I got some things I want to see them fix between now and the end of the season. Andy Pajes missed a really bad, easy fly ball in the outfield yesterday that allowed the Brewers to score a run. So there are concerns. But you're right. Like, you don't really hear it from the major league, from the national media as much. The way you hear it from the Yankees.
Everything's cool because it's the Dodgers, it's Shohei. But they have a lot, the Yankees' issues is that the bullpen isn't deep and they don't have a third starter. While the Dodgers don't have a bullpen and they don't know who's coming out to pitch in the playoffs.
Yeah.
We
naturally talked about the Dodgers first, but do got to give some love for the Brewers. I mean, they're a half game back for the best record in the major leagues. They're 19 games over 500. They're tied for the National League Central lead with the Cubs right now. I told you in a couple episodes ago, the Cubs fans are nervous about the Brewers, and they definitely are. They got Seattle this week, and I got a good question for you here. As a Yankee, or for the Yankees, would you rather have what Caleb Durbin is doing at third base this season?
Yes.
Or would you rather have Devin Williams?
I was going to bring that up next about Caleb Durbin. I watched him. I got to actually sit down and watch the whole game yesterday. And what Caleb Durbin does is he runs the base pass well. So he makes all the right plays. And that's what the Yankees need. And like a lot of people knock the whole Caleb Durbin is that he's a shorter player, but he does everything right. And I kind of feel like that's what the Yankees need. And I mean, yeah, Devin Williams is great, but third base is a black hole right now.
Yeah. I think if the Yankees had Caleb Durbin, trading for a third baseman at that deadline maybe wouldn't be a conversation. Look what he's doing in July. I know the season stats aren't amazing, 732 OPS, but in July, he's hitting 342 with a 968 OPS. In June, he hit 296 with a 795 OPS. So in the last 30 days, he's hitting 366 with a 946 OPS. And he's playing good defense at third for the Brewers, a team that can't lose right now. So I would probably take Durbin too. I know Williams has been really, really good since he started taking control of the pitches and the pitch calling. But a good third baseman, in my opinion, is more valuable than a good closer, especially what the Yankees are getting at third base right now. So yeah, I would probably go Durbin too.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, Milwaukee, I hope they buy. They're linked with a lot of first basemen right now. Be very interesting to see what they do going forward at the deadline. But in the Cubs, I'm telling you, I don't want to be a Cub hater, but that Milwaukee team is really good.
That Milwaukee team is really good. They have a frontline guy in Mizorowski now too, and Woodruff is returning. He's looked good. Priesters look really good. Like Freddie Peralta, like they're just always good. You can never write off the Brewers. I think at this point they got Seattle, like I mentioned, and then a showdown in Milwaukee next week or this weekend against the Marlins, and then a huge series starting a week from today on the 28th. Cubs, Brewers in Milwaukee. That'll be must-see TV.
Yeah, the Marlins, we got that series. Like we're no issues. Like it was tough. We were robbed of a couple games out here when we played them in Miami a couple weeks ago. 4th of July, we lost 5-6 on 4th of July. Saturday we got the win, but we'll be ready. We'll be ready this time. Kyle Stowers is MVP level Kyle Stowers right now. You'll be first team all MLB. Maybe second team for sure. First team we're gonna push. Watch.
All right.
I mean, let's just talk about it. Let's just do as we always do with this podcast. We always start out with the Marlin report, the Fish report. We got Luis. He's a bandwagon Marlins fan since a couple months ago. Been living in Miami for 2.5 years and become a bandwagon Marlins fans. And as we always do, we just talk about the Marlins. How are the Marlins doing? And the Miami Marlins played the Kansas City Royals this weekend. What a series that was. We won the series, winning 2 out of 3, winning on Friday, 8-7 in 10 innings. Kyle Stowers, again, Mr. Home Run Derby, Mr. All-Star, walk-off 2-run home run off Carlos Estevez, who was linked for trades to the Yankees potentially. And Kyle Stowers in his last 14, as of that night, he's hitting 464, 556 on base, and 1,036 slug with 5 homers and 13 RBIs with a 314 WRC plus. Talk about a crazy stat line. Marlins came again and won on Saturday 3-1. We're a really good team, William. You don't want to make the clip. Since June 13th, Marlins have the second best record of baseball, 21-10, with the third most runs scored in the majors. I know yesterday was tough. We lost 7-4. We were down the whole game. But, man, I was walking around the streets yesterday of Miami. Nobody was in the streets. There was a huge attendance this weekend, excluding opening weekend versus the Pirates. The weekend series against the Royals was the second most attended series of the season for the Miami Marlins. We're playing good ball. We get San Diego this week. San Diego has a lot of holes in their armor. They don't play good teams well, and we're a good team. So I like our chances this week. We'll talk about San Diego later, but really nice week. I know Sandy struggled, but I know King Bendix is going to make a big move coming up, and we're going to be all right. I mean, we did lose Connor Norby, but, a lot of guys in our farm system that were kind of slept on are playing really well, and they're going to come up right now. I know Graham Pauley's going to do a nice job at third, so,
They're 7.5 back in the wild card right now, 6 games under 500, but they are playing good baseball, as you mentioned. It's a tough week. San Diego, and then they go to Milwaukee.
It's not a tough week. It's not a tough week. When you look at the numbers at San Diego, we're beating the San Diego series, and all we have to do is just take 1 or 2 off Milwaukee, and we're fine. Just hold serve this week. It gets easier. We get the Cardinals, and then we get the Yankees. And I know we talk about the Yankees, but the Yankees will give us a couple runs for free because there'll be some base running mistake or some defensive mistake, and then boom, we'll put in like Nestor Cortez in the 9th inning, and Kyle Stowers will just take one deep, and we'll go home.
You know that the Yankees series in Miami will be the most attended series probably. I also think this series probably solidified the Royals as sellers. They're now 4 games under 500. They got Chicago this week, the Cubs in Wrigley. So that's a 3-game set where the Cubs will look to sweep. And I think the Royals should sell. They're not going anywhere this season. They could do a mini sell, just trade Lugo, whatever, and maybe Estevez. Probably not Estevez, but potentially, and go again next season. Because you don't want to give up on Bobby Witt and everything. You still got to be kind of all in all season. Every year you have Bobby Witt, but they're not good this year. So I think they probably should sell.
Got a lot of money on Estevez, so that'll be the key thing with him that just signed a big deal. So, but I mean, I love his fastball. That's a very nice fastball that he has on him. But thoughts on the Marlins? Can we talk about the Marlins? You fail to give the Marlins credit. I keep bringing the numbers, and you're just like, no. Like Bendix is if you were a GM. Think about it. He only drafted college guys.
They're good. I'm not. They're still 6 games under 500, but they have been playing better baseball in June and July. They're over 500 after a rough March, April, May. I like the pitching staff. I really do. I mean, Yuri Perez, Edward Cabrera, Sandy, Quantrill had a good start this weekend. Jansen Junk wasn't great, but he's still good. Like, they have a good starting rotation. I like Otto Lopez. I like Ramirez at catcher. Probably be a DH eventually. Stowers is playing incredible baseball. Dane Myers plays a really good center field. Xavier Edwards has been kind of turning it on as well. So, yeah, they got a really good team. Or not a really good team. They got a really good, young core, in my opinion. I'd be very curious to see what Bendix does to build around it, because they could very well make the playoffs next season. Maybe this season. Who knows? They're only 7.5 back in the wild card. If they keep playing the way they've been playing, they're not out of it. And we've talked about, they're not going to be sellers because they don't really have a ton to sell anyways. A lot of these dudes are really young guys that are under team control. It'd be crazy to trade Edward Cabrera. And, Sandy, his value isn't super high right now because he's been struggling. So, yeah, they got a good team.
I'm telling you right now, if you watch a Marlins game, they play baseball the right way. Can we also give credit to Clayton McCullough? He should be manager of the year. Like, I'm telling you, if you were to watch the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings of that game on Sunday last week before the All-Star break of the Orioles game, you would have been in baseball heaven, because that would be like if you were managing the game. They do the right plays. So,
yeah, I know. Yeah, we've talked about this a lot over text, so I'll give them the credit today on the podcast, because I know you love your Marlins.
I'm just bandwagoning, but just trying to bring some spice to the podcast here. So, some good prop. Yeah, no, because this weekend I was at the block party and everybody was like, "Oh yeah, go Panthers, go Panthers!" I'm like, "Yo, y'all watch the Marlins?" They're like, "No, we don't watch the Marlins." They're like, "They suck," and I'm like, "The Marlins are a really good team, guys. Like, they do not suck.
They do not suck. They
suck." They were like, "Oh, really?" But I thought baseball games were 4 hours long. I'm like, no. And that's where I think Major League has to do a better job at marketing, because a lot of people that are just casuals that I was meeting this weekend were like, "Oh yeah, baseball games are 4 hours and the team stinks." And I'm like, no. The team does not stink. The Marlins have been the hottest team in Major League Baseball since June. 3rd hottest team. And the games aren't 4 hours long.
They're 2 now. They're literally 2 hours.
There's a pitch clock now. And I'm like, it's like a shot clock in basketball.
Yep.
So I couldn't imagine going back. So let's talk about San Diego and the Nats. San Diego won 2 out of 3 this weekend. Padres won 7-2 on Friday. Dylan Cease went 5 1/3. Dylan Cease stat line: 4 hits, 10 strikeouts. The game was tied at 2 going into the 9th, and then the Padres scored 5 off of Kyle Finnegan. Manny Machado hit a grand slam. Saturday, Nationals won 4-2, and then Sunday, 8-1 victory for the Padres. Mackenzie Gore got roughed up 2 1/3, 8 earned, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. Nationals will listen to offers for Mackenzie Gore, but they're not actively trying to move him. In regards to Kyle Finnegan, Josh Bell, Mike Soroka, Ahmed Rosario, and Nathaniel Lowe are up for trade. And now William, I have a crazy stat. The Padres had five they had 5 all-star game representatives, but they had 7 more reps who were in the system. William, can you guess those 7 others? Because I think you can guess the 5 pretty easily.
7. So they had 7 total all-star reps that used to be in the farm system, in addition to the 5 guys they had on the roster that are currently on the roster.
Correct.
Oh God. Okay. Well, James Wood, CJ Abrams didn't make it. This is going to be harder than expected. James Wood. You're gonna have to give me some hints. It's hard to think of this off the dome.
Credit the Bob Nightingale for this.
Am I allowed to look at the all-star rosters, or?
William, it's easy. It's not as hard as you think. You're making it completely difficult. You said James Wood like 3 times, and CJ
I know
Abrams.
because I'm stalling. I don't know. CJ Abrams wasn't an All-Star, was he?
No, but you're on the right track.
Let me think. We got I'm looking at the rosters right now. A lot of these
oh my god, what is this lack of ball knowledge here?
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Just tell me.
Mackenzie Gore.
I forgot he was an All-Star.
Yeah. Oh, you have the All-Star game up. Josh Hader.
Josh Hader came up as a Padres prospect? Oh, yeah. Jesus, that feels like he did?
Yeah, remember he went to Milwaukee, remember?
Yeah, see, I forgot.
You forgot that? Okay. Those 3. Max Fried.
Never would have guessed Max Fried. Who did he get traded for Atlanta?
I can't remember. I saw the transaction a couple of weeks ago, but Max Fried, Trevor Meagle, Andres Munoz.
Yeah, because I have Trevor McGill's farm system just in the back of my head. Like I remember who he came up with.
Andres Munoz and Brent Rooker.
God, see, that's tough. That is not easy. That is
Some
not
of them
easy.
are easy. Some of them are easy. You could have
Brent Rooker, like I would have remembered Brent Rooker. By the way, Fried was traded by the Padres with Dustin Peterson, Jace Peterson, and Malik Smith to the Braves for Aaron Northcraft and Justin Upton in December of 2014.
Yeah. So I think the Braves won that trade.
I think the Braves probably won that trade. Got a World Series out of Fried.
But yeah, tough weekend for the Nationals. Remains to be seen what happens.
I'll be curious to see what they do because they got a new regime now. Gore's got 2 years of arbitration. Then he's a free agent. I think he could get moved. He had a really rough start on Sunday.
Yeah, let's talk about the next series. Let's go to talk about the Cincinnati Reds. I mean, the Cincinnati Reds this weekend played the New York Mets, and they had an interesting series this weekend where the Mets won. The Reds won 2 out of 3. They won Friday 8-4. They won Saturday 5-2, and the Mets won 3-2. Let's talk about it. I mean, we had an interesting Saturday presser with Emilio Pagan saying, hey, we should buy. What is your thoughts on this weekend? Mets continue to struggle. Reds looking Reds.
Reds should absolutely buy, in my opinion. They're 52-48, 2.5 back of the third wild card place in the National League. They had a good weekend winning that series in New York. Would have loved them to finish the series off with a sweep. But a series win is a series win. Low pitched really well on Friday. You had homers from Tyler Stevenson, 2 home run night for Austin Hayes. Matt McClain had a home run as well. The Reds scored in the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th innings on Friday night's game to get the win. They spoiled the David Wright Hall of Fame and jersey retirement on Saturday with a 5-2 win. Nick Martinez had a strong start, 5 innings, 2 earned runs. Jake Fraley went 3 for 4 with 2 doubles and 2 ribbies. They got to Clay Holmes. Pagan got the save. So, yeah, the Reds, I think, should absolutely buy. It'll probably be a soft buy, knowing their front office. They should not sell. Like, I think Nick Martinez should stay on the team. Pagan should stay on the team. Those are pending free agents. No reason to sell, or in my opinion. They're in the race. All they got to do is get a little bit hot. They got guys producing in that lineup right now. They just went into Citi Field and won a series, and now they got Washington this week, which is a winnable series considering what we've seen from the Nats this season, and then they got Tampa Bay at home, which will again a winnable series, and then the Dodgers next week. They got a dude in Chase Burns. I think he's only going to improve with every start at the major league level. Brady Singer's been better. Lodolo, Andrew Abbott. They did lose the Abbott start yesterday, but he went 6 innings, 2 earned runs. Yeah, I think they should sell. I think they should buy. Excuse me. They're a good team. They're 7.5 back in the division. They're not going to be in that conversation, but a wild card spot is not out of the realm of possibility, I think, for the Reds.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Reds keep on Redding. They play well. This is typical Reds behavior. They'll do this, and then they'll fall off after the All-Star break after they make 2 moves. The Reds, you know what they're going to be? They're going to be the LA Angels of the deadline. Watch.
They
Like,
buy, and then all of a sudden it just goes to crap.
exactly.
Yeah.
Not
What was it?
like epically, but like to that nature, yeah.
The 2023 Angels, where they were up there in the standings at the deadline, and then went all in on the last year of Ohtani,
Yep.
and then they totally cratered from there.
Yeah. Let's talk about the White Sox Pirates series, the 2B series of the weekend. White Sox got the sweep 10-1, 10-4 on Saturday, 10-1 on Friday, and 7-2 on Sunday. I mean, Luis Robert, he's like, it's time to get paid, my guy. It's time to get out of Chicago. In his last 9 games on Saturday, hitting for 360, 2 homers, 6 RBIs, and 7 runs and 2 stolen bases. I mean, Pirates are getting ready to sell. Yankees have been in contact with the Yankees with Key Brian Hayes, David Bednar, Dennis Santana, Mitch Keller, and IKF. Will be interesting to see what the Pirates do at the deadline. I mean, Mitch Keller seems like the guy they'll get the most return for. Be very interesting to see what happens from now until the 31st. But the Pirates are for sure seller.
Yes. Pirates are pretty bad. Good start from Savali on Sunday. Adrian Hauser struggled on Saturday, but most important thing from this series, in my opinion, is the Luis Robert Jr. tracker. 2 hits on Friday with a home run, his 10th of the season. 2 hits again on Saturday, and then on Sunday he went 1 for 4 with a stolen base. So yeah, he's playing better baseball. I think, again, I mentioned on the last episode, change of scenery for him would be good. So let's see if he gets traded. I think it would be smart for the White Sox to move on from Robert.
It's like, it's time to get paid. It's time to get out. Let's play for 2 good weeks and just get out of here.
Yeah. I mean, LA needs help in the outfield.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Blue Jays, we talked about them earlier. They swept the Giants this weekend. They won 4-0. Verlander only went 2 2/3 for the Giants, and he's the 11th player since 1920 to go winless in his first 16 starts to begin the season. First player to do so with more than 69 wins. Saturday, Blue Jays won 6-3. Addison Barger had a career high 4-hit game with a double. Logan Webb gave up 4. He went 6 for 11 hits, 4 earned. And then Sunday, the Blue Jays won 8-6. Do you know Addison Barger has an 850 OPS, which is 3rd among outfield with 250 ABs behind Springer and Aaron Judge? Shout out to Just Baseball on Twitter for that one.
Was that in the American League?
Yes.
Yeah, he's been really good, man. Blue Jays, they just keep winning games.
He swings so aggressively too. Like, it's very aggressive. Friday was a weird game too because I saw that the Giants got 11 hits
and 0 runs.
It's 0 runs. I mean, the Rafael Devers trade returns are looking very bad right now for the Giants. Well, it remains to be seen what happens with the Giants season. Are the Giants just going to be one of those teams just middling? Are they the new LA Angels? It remains to be seen.
Yeah, they haven't really turned things on since this Devers trade, which is concerning. But it is still early, I guess, in terms of return for that trade. They're going to be tied to that contract for quite a long time. So we'll see there. You had home runs from Springer, Guerrero, Barger, and Chapman on Sunday. The Blue Jays are 1st in batting average, 2nd in OBP on the season for their lineup. And their bullpen is 6th in bullpen ERA. They're 25th in starting pitching ERA. So I think that's where they're going to look for an upgrade at the trade deadline. They currently hold a 3-game lead in the East, as we mentioned, with the Yankees in a 4-game set against the Tigers this weekend, where they will be facing Tarek Skubal. So that'll be, I mean, it's a huge week for the Jays. And then they got Baltimore at the right leading up into the trade deadline. So it's a big few weeks here for the Jays. They don't really get a break because they played 3 straight this weekend. Of course, they don't have an off day until the 31st at the trade deadline. So
very interesting.
It's a lot of games and a lot of days. That bullpen's going to be taxed.
Did you know that Vladimir Guerrero has 13 home runs and Anthony Volpe has 12?
I knew you were going to say this. Doesn't Volpe have a higher OPS than Mookie Betts right now?
Something like that, yeah.
I saw that stat.
Yeah, the biggest thing with Vladimir Guerrero is a lot of people like see that he's hitting, like his savant page is great, but he just has a really bad attack angle. He only hits the ball at a 2 degrees, which it's not very conducive to home runs. Like if he just makes that one adjustment to get more, swings, and I think I've read that the Jays like staff wants him to go more for bombs. Like it would be a completely different story with Vlad this year. But I mean, Vlad's had a great year. Just you're not getting that power that a lot of people expect from Vlad Jr.
828 or sorry, 824 OPS for Vlad. And yeah, Volpe has a 686 OPS and Mookie Betts has a 684 OPS. So Volpe does have a better OPS this season than Mookie, which is crazy.
And Yankee fans complain about Anthony Volpe. They have Mookie Betts at home.
Right.
Let's talk about the Sunday Night Baseball series last night. I was watching this one last night. Rangers got 2 out of 3 from Detroit. Rangers won 2-0 on Friday. Saturday, Rangers won 4-1, and then Tigers won last night off the Tariq Skubal start 2-1. I mean, Rangers had been hitting the ball really well lately. I mean, they were talking about it last night on the telecast that Brett Boone pretty much said, let's stop looking at the iPads. This is the iPads and looking at the data, and let's examine on how are they getting us out? How are the pitcher getting us out? Let's stop looking at the iPad and let's look at deeper. How are they getting us out? Sounds pretty anti-analytic to me, which I think would drive the Yankees crazy and a lot of new wave teams crazy. Maybe that's why Brett Boone's not on the Yankee staff.
Probably.
The computer model will not allow that teaching to happen. But I think the most interesting comments that came out of last night's game were Buster Olney made Tariq Skubal comments, which were very interesting. There's a huge Twitter thread that came out, I read this morning with, did you see the Cameron Maybin Twitter thread?
Yeah, Cameron Maybin had himself a night on Twitter yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I didn't see it online last night because I shut my stuff down, but he said that Skubal is set to land a $400 million baseball contract, $400 million contract after next season. The question is whether it'll come from the Yankees, Dodgers, or the Mets. That's what Buster Olney said on Tariq Skubal. So, and then you had the Cameron Maybin saying that pretty much he should be wearing pinstripes. What do you think about these comments from both sides?
I think it was a little premature for Olney to bring that up on a nationally televised game. I get it. It's reporting, but there really is no market right now for Skubal in terms of like his pending free agency. I mean, we know that it's going to be the big players, the Yankees, the Dodgers, maybe the Phillies, the Mets will be in that conversation, but I want to see him just resign with the Tigers. Like the rich teams don't need to get richer with Skubal. Now, there is the question of, are you going to be paying for past performance? Like, is he going to get a mega $400 million contract, and is he just not going to be as good as he is right now? I mean, he's 28, so he's in theory in his prime. When he's a free agent, he'll be close to 30. It'll probably be like an 8-year deal. Do you want to be on the hook for that much money on it for a guy that's going to be playing into his 30s? I don't know. We'll see, but I want to see him stay in Detroit.
How do you think Andrew's feeling after last night's game, after those comments? I feel like Andrew was like, yay, we won, like impending doom for next offseason.
I feel like all Tigers fans have that feeling, to be honest, of they're questioning, is this run legit? And they're questioning, is Skubal going to stay? Like, that's the biggest question mark for them right now. Can the lineup hold up in the second half? We said in the last episode that we might see some struggles from the Tigers in the second half. This was not a good start. Now, luckily for them, they get Pittsburgh this week. They do face Skeens tonight, but it's Pittsburgh, and then we mentioned Toronto at home for 4, which is like a mini rivalry series. So we'll see. They're going to win the division. That division is over 11 up right now of Cleveland, so they don't have much to worry about, but they do have to fight for home field advantage in the playoffs. That's what they're playing for in the second half. And they've been struggling. They got swept the series before the All-Star break. I can't remember who they played against, but they got swept. And now they, avoided sweep last night with Skubal.
Seattle.
Seattle. Yep, that's who it was. So we'll see. But it's been a rough few series for the Tigers.
Yeah. Let's briefly touch on 2 series here quickly. Sacramento A's played the Guardians. Guardians won 2 out of 3. Slade Ciccone went 8 1/3, 6 earned on 107 pitches. Guardians won 8-6.
That was an old school. That was like a line straight from the 1980s. 8 1/3, 107 pitches, 6 earned runs. Like they just left him out there, and then Clase came in for the save. But that was a cool line for Ciccone.
Yeah. A's won 8-2 on Saturday. Nick Kurtz has been on an absolute heater. He went 3 for 5. I mean, Nick Kurtz is probably the first baseman nobody's talking about right now. In his last 14 games, he's hitting .406, on base percentage of 500, and a 1,063 slug, hitting 5 home runs, 12 RBIs, and 311 WRC plus. Talk about the future of the A's with Denzel Clark at center, first baseman. You have Nick Kurtz, Tyler Soderstrom's at left field, DHing. You have Brent Rooker, Lawrence Butler at right field. They're added pitching in the draft. They're going to keep Mason Miller. I mean, there's a lot of things to be excited for. I know, again, we say this every time on the podcast, but like the future of the Sacramento, now going to be Vegas A's, is so bright. Like Nick Kurtz has been like, after that like slow start, has been a complete revelation for them.
Yeah, he's, 18 home runs and he came up in mid-April. Like, I think he could be one of the best young power bats in the game, could be a future, 300 to 500 home run guy if he stays healthy. He's 22 right now. Got drafted last season. He's already raking at the major league level. Like, he strikes out a ton. He's got to cut down on the strikeouts. Not a great defender at first base, although he made a great play yesterday. But yeah, I think Kurtz and the young core they have in Sacramento hasn't necessarily panned out this season, but there is reason for optimism. And Kurtz, man, he's kind of the truth, to be honest.
They got a couple rookie of the year guys. They got Jacob Wilson, they got Nick Kurtz, Denzel Clark. Like I'm telling you, I keep telling A's fans there's a lot to look forward to with this team. You know, this year's not great, but there's a lot to look forward to. Let them get some pitching and they'll be fine.
Yeah, they lost this series. Guardians won. I hope the Guardians continue to lose because they're another team that you mentioned that probably controls the trade deadline. It seems like they're not going to move Clase, which I think is smart.
Quan, or J-Man. They're not moving anything.
So, have fun being 500 and not going anywhere. I know they're the ALCS last year, but that's probably not going to happen again anytime soon.
That's just an Ohio thing to do. The Bengals never got rid of anything. They're just like just mediocrity. State of Ohio.
I guess Ohio State won the national championship.
But that's just one day after the 1 year that the Michigan had a down year. The 1 year Michigan couldn't beat another team ranked and had no quarterback. They still lost. Ohio, let's just put that out. They still lost. So, but
yeah, Ohio State still, yeah.
No shade. We're not going to get into that. Yep. That's a college football pod thing. But Tampa beat Baltimore, winning 2 out of 3. Rays won 11-1 on Friday. Tosh Bradley went 6, 3 hits, 0 earned, 6 strikeouts, and a walk. Charlie Morton had 5 1/3, 8 hits with 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, and 2 home runs. He was not great. He is linked with the Yankees. That would be a Cashman move. Just for Charlie Morton.
90 Charlie Morton.
Who he's like Jamie Moyer at this point.
Jamie Moyer, yeah. I miss Jamie Moyer.
Yeah, Saturday the Rays won 4-3. Chandler Simpson has an 18-game hit streak. And on Sunday, Orioles won 5-3 on getaway day. Not a good start from Ryan Pepio, giving up 5 in 6 innings. He had 8 strikeouts. So Felix Bautista might be a guy, could be moved. I know Dodgers are in on high leverage guys. That's kind of their calling card right now, what they're looking for at the deadline. Bautista just saved game 19. So, again, Orioles continue to struggle for the purposes of the trade deadline. Their fate could be sealed by Wednesday, in my opinion, or it could already be sealed.
Their fate is already sealed. They will be selling. They're 10 games under 500 right now, going on the road for 4 with Cleveland and then 3 at home against Colorado. So unless they sweep the week, I think they'll be selling at the deadline. Interesting note on Tampa. They got a home series against the White Sox this week, and then they're finally they're hitting that part of the schedule where they're mostly on the road. Starting July 25th against the Reds, they're on the road for 3 against them, on the road for 4 against the Yankees, home for 3 against the Dodgers, on the road for 3 against the Angels, on the road for 3 against Seattle, 3 on the road against the A's, 3 on the road against San Francisco. So from August 4th to August 17th, they're on the road. That's 4 straight series, 12 straight games. Home for 2 against the Yankees, home for 3 against St. Louis, then at Cleveland, at Washington. So they're at that point of the schedule. We know they had the home series stacked early in the year, and now it's all road games basically for them. So where they sit right now, they're 4 games over 500, game and a half back again of the 3rd wild card. They got to win this series against the White Sox and get into that wild card spot before they just play a million road games.
Yeah. We're going to talk about the Mariners. Houston went up to Seattle, and Seattle won 2 out of 3. I mean, Houston's been struggling as of late. They had the win yesterday on Sunday to just get back in the good graces on the win column. I mean, Friday night, the Seattle Mariners won 6-1. Luis Castillo went 6 2/3, 7 strikeouts, 2 walks. They scored 4th off Steven Oker and Hector Neris to go up to 6-1. On the 8th, the Mariners won an extra 7-6. Josh Hader went 2 innings scoreless in relief. But, man, Cole Young, walk-off RBI off Hector Neris. And then yesterday, Astros won 11-3. Just a tough game for the Mariners.
I mean, the Astros are super injured right now. Like, it's hard to make a full sweeping judgment on them because all the damn injuries they have. Obviously, you got Jordan, who's been on the injured list most of the season with the hand. Now you got Isaac Paredes, Jeremy Pena, Jake Myers, Brendan Rodgers, and then Spencer Arrighetti, Ronald Blanco, JP France, Luis Garcia, Christian Javier, Hayden Wozniacki. Like, they're just so injured right now. They're probably the most injured team in Major League Baseball. There's a reason they've been struggling. So, I mean, Zach Short's getting some playing time for them. Cooper Hummel, Bryce Matthews has been playing second base. Like,
Yeah.
It's tough. They're very injured.
I mean, right now, Houston leads the league in players in the IL. I mean, before yesterday's game, they had lost 8 straight. They got swept by the Rangers and the Guardians, and they faced a 3rd straight sweep. So, Bats came alive yesterday, had to get that win under the books. We got the penultimate series of the week. Not a great series for deadline people. The St. Louis, Arizona. Arizona with a clean sweep this weekend, winning Friday 7-3. Brandon Pfaadt with 7 strong, 0 earned, 6 strikeouts in 91 pitches. Diamondbacks were up, 7-0 in the 9th. Cardinals scored 3 just when the game was pretty much over. Saturday, Eugenio Suarez, stocks going up, 2-homer night, up to 33 in the season. Sonny Gray pitched 3 1/3, giving up 8 earned off 11 hits. Not great for him. And then again yesterday, Diamondbacks winning 5-3. Suarez hitting another 2 homers. And since the second half of 2024, he has 54 homers, 137 RBIs, a 592 slug, and a 924 OPS. Very, very good. Merrill Kelly worked himself out of a couple jams yesterday, pitched 6 full, 3 hits, 2 earned, 5 strikeouts. Diamondbacks getting the wins in the column, looking for controllable pitching. Very interesting what the Cardinals do. I know Ryan Helsley's been dropped. They're not sure on what they're going to do with him. I mean, there'll be something to look at through this week.
Yeah, the Cardinals could end up selling. They're 2 games over 500. They're not going to win that division. They're 3.5 back of the wild card right now. And then you got Arizona. Arizona's 50-50, 4.5 back of the wild card. Do they convince themselves that they should buy or stand pat? The Cardinals are in Colorado for 3 this week and then 4 at home against the Padres. So big week for them. They got to sweep the Rockies if they want to stay in this thing in the National League. You mentioned Suarez. You also had Corbin Carroll, 3-hit night on Saturday with 2 triples. He then had another triple on Sunday. So he's heating up. Like, I just kind of feel like the Diamondbacks could convince themselves that, hey, we shouldn't sell. We should hold on to what we have. We have talent. We have decent enough pitching. Obviously, you don't have Corbin Burns, which was a huge loss. But they have bats, Suarez, Carroll, Geraldo Perdomo has been quietly an RBI guy for them. He's been really good this season. They got talent. They could convince themselves that they could make a run in the playoffs. Brandon Pfaadt has been pitching much better. Ryan Nelson's had some good starts lately. Like, I don't know. They're not necessarily out of this thing, and baseball's weird. They could just get hot and make a run. So if that is the case and they decide to hold on to what they have, they throw a huge wrench in the whole trade deadline.
And they've done it before, getting on a run. That's something that they do all the time, get on a run. That's something the Diamondbacks do really well. And then the last series, I know a lot of fan bases are mad that we left this as the last series of the week. Cubs winning 2 out of 3. Cubs won 4-1 on Friday and 6-0 on Saturday. Sunday, Red Sox won 6-1. I mean, as you put here in our notes, the All-Star break came at a wrong time for Boston. Bello wasn't great, but Imanaga, 7 innings pitched, 0 earned, 5 strikeouts. He has a 2.4 ERA. He was very, very good. Him and Matthew Boyd have been incredible in the last 14. I mean, Chicago, they're up there, but they got pesky Milwaukee. And, kind of a measuring stick series for Boston. And, they didn't get blown out. I think that's the most important thing, but it just shows that there's a different class of teams. There's the Cubs, and then there's the Red Sox. There's levels to this.
Yeah, it was a good for them to win the last game of the series, avoid the sweep yesterday. Willie Abreu, 2 home run game, 20 on the season. The Cubs bullpen kind of gave that one away. Kate Horton was good, 5 2/3, no earned. But it was Pomerantz who gave up the home run to Bregman, 3-run blast, pinch hit home run. And Presley gave up the 2-run blast to Abreu in the 7th, which made it 2-1 Sox. So the Sox kind of tacked on there against the pin and got the win, avoided the sweep. Cubs, I still think they'll be good. It's going to be a fun division race, though. Fun division race. They got to get some pitching help. And Boston, this tough schedule continues. They're in Philly for 3. They're facing Zach Wheeler tonight. They got Walker Buehler going up there. And then they got the Dodgers for 3 at home. So big week for the Red Sox as well.
Guarantee you, if a slide starts, they're going to blame Roman Anthony, Romy Gonzalez, and Marcelo Meyer for the slide. It's gonna be like the Giants. You remember the boat scandal when Odell Beckham Jr. had the whole team on the boat? Yep.
How could I forget?
This is gonna be the Nantucket scandal.
Yeah.
For the Red Sox.
We also had the Angels in Philly, the last series of the week. Angels won 2 of 3. Yeah. Angels won 6-5 on Friday. Phillies won 9-5 on Saturday. And the Angels won on Sunday 8-2. Jose Soriano, 7 innings, 2 earned runs for the Angels yesterday. Generated a lot of ground balls. Rough start for Ranger Suarez, 4 1/3, 6 earned. Lamont Wade Jr., 2 home run game on Sunday, 3 for 4 with a ribby. And he hit a home run, 1 home run game, 2nd of the season. And then the Phillies signed 40-year-old David Robertson because they need pen help. You had a 2 home run game from Harper on Friday, 12 on the season. And then Kyle Schwarber, home run on Friday, 31 of the season. Then he had a grand slam on Saturday, his 32nd home run of the season. That kind of blew the game open for the Phillies. And I think Kyle Schwarber is putting together quietly a Hall of Fame career. Potentially. He's got some way to go. He's 32. He's a free agent. He's got 32 home runs on the season right now. Let's say he finishes around the 50-ish mark, somewhere in maybe the 40s, pushing 50 this season. He's a free agent. I think he should re-sign in Philly. Since he's been in Philadelphia, he's had 46 homers, 47, 38. Now he's at 32 this season, potentially pushing 40-something, close to 50. 316 career home runs. As I mentioned, he's a DH, so he has the longevity, in my opinion. He's not taxing his body by playing the field. He could, in theory, play 10 more seasons and easily get 500 home runs if he keeps hitting the way he is. If you hit 500 home runs, you're essentially a lock to be a Hall of Famer. Kyle Schwarber could very well make the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And he's one of the best DHs of this generation. So I feel like when we talk about active players that are going to be future Hall of Famers, Kyle Schwarber's not the first name that comes to mind, but he's absolutely in that conversation.
Could you imagine Kyle Schwarber at a hitter-friendly ballpark, like at a Fenway or Yankee Stadium or even Great American?
Yeah, he got traded over from Washington to Boston, and he hit 7 homers in 41 games that year. They made the ALCS. He had a 957 OPS for them in his 41 games in Boston. So, yeah, obviously people remember him with the Cubs when he was young, coming up, the World Series team. That was a long time ago. He was in his early 20s when that happened.
Yeah.
So Hall of Fame potential here.
Yeah.
That is it.
That is it. We'll be back with you Friday morning. We'll be doing a podcast Friday morning. We'll be talking about the week that was for the New York Yankees. They played the Philadelphia Phillies this week.
Well, they got
the
Blue Jays, and then Philly this weekend. Yeah,
we got the Blue Jays, and we'll be back at you Friday morning.
You'll be on the road, right?
We'll be on the road.
You gonna disclose where?
Manfred sent the All-Star replacement invitation late, and the Yankees called me up late. They optioned me after Rico Garcia, but
so Atlanta it is.
We'll be in Atlanta. Yeah.
All right, so we'll be back then Friday, recapping the Yankees, recapping the week as we get closer to the trade deadline. As always, hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys for listening. For my good friend over there, Luis Barranco, I'm William Locke. We'll catch you guys on Friday. Peace out.